So, dear friends, there's a story I've told a few times, but normally I only tell half of it because there isn't always time. But I was flying to Slovakia a couple of years back, and I was sitting beside a young lady. She was in her mid-20s, I'd say. So we just got chatting, and I asked her, well, what, you over in Ireland for holidays or for work? And she said, I work here. I said, fantastic, what do you work at? And she said, I work in advertising. And then this question came to me, which I'd never thought of before. I said, if you were to advertise the church, what would you do? How would you advertise the church? We have a product. It's, pardon the profanity, but we have a product that we want to offer. We have a client base. We have outlets, otherwise known as churches, all over the country. So if we were to consider our faith, from a business perspective, how would you advertise it? And she said, well, every product has to have a unique selling point. This is the point, when I use this story, this is the point I normally hone in on. Every product you sell has to have a unique selling point. So basically, why be Catholic and not another faith? Why come to Mass and not just do something good on a Sunday, like help out in a soup kitchen? Why come to Mass specifically? Why believe in God as we understand him as opposed to a God of your own understanding or of someone else's understanding? Why? Why do what we do? Why be Catholic? If we're not clear about that, then obviously when we speak to people, if we're not clear about why it's important to be Catholic, that won't come across when we speak to people. If it's not clear to us, if maybe you've always had Toyota, and Ginny, I always have had Toyotas now, no problem at all. I had 250,000 kilometres in the last Toyota, not a bother. Just had to change the tyres, that was it. Absolutely bulletproof. Strongly recommend them. Right? So now, you're confident, you've had this product, it was really good, and you stand by it and you promote it to others, Whereas Jenny, I had a Hyundai and I had nothing but trouble. From day one, the gearbox went and the central locking went, and Jenny, stay away, go, anything, I don't know. You know what I mean? So you've had an experience, and we either promote the thing or maybe demote the thing, depending on our experience. So similarly with the faith, she asked, what is your unique selling point? And this really, really struck me, because I thought for years, our generation, when we went to school, our faith formation was called religion. Religious education. Religion. That's fairly broad. Do you know what I mean? There are lots of world religions. Even Satanism. Witchcraft is a religion, by the way. And it's a growing religion, might I add. So religion isn't specifically Catholic at all. It's everything. But this was kind of our mentality, and it still is to our degree. As long as you have some sort of spirituality, you're okay. But that's absolutely rubbish. That's made up, woke nonsense. It really is absolutely rubbish to think once you have some spirituality, that's okay. Because they don't have the same ideas, they don't have the same ideals, they do not have the same worldview, and sometimes they are very, very contrasting. So, and ultimately, which is true? How do we know which one is true? Well, the one that God revealed, I think chances are, the one that God revealed, what God says about himself is more likely to be more true than what a spiritual guru, even with the best of intentions, might have said anywhere in the world at any point throughout history. What Jesus said was what God says about himself is going to be more accurate in understanding who God is than any spiritual guru. Okay, so we have to be very, very careful. I'm very confident in this. So what's our unique selling point? We have a few, but we can, depending on who you're talking to, we can pitch it in different ways. Ultimately, again, this is where kind of prudence and wisdom in any particular scenario will come into play. Ultimately, everyone is looking for happiness. So if we pitch our faith in terms of, my faith makes me happy. It gives me great confidence in times of, and comfort in times of grief. It gives me clarity in times of confusion. It gives me hope in times of loss. My faith is always, my faith is there with me, the Lord, because my faith isn't just a set of rules or beliefs, it's a person. And because of this Lord who I try to come to know and love, every aspect of my life is better. Central to our faith is the Trinity. It's not always an easy place to start with when you're talking to people, but it is the core of our faith. The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit is the core of our faith. We can also say with the Eucharist, that we get to receive Jesus' body, blood, soul, and divinity. Okay, these are all unique selling points. Some of them we share with the Orthodox Church. We won't get lost in detail. You get the point. Secondly, though, she said, as well as having a unique selling point, your product, she says, has to be sold by people who believe in that product. So if you go to the Ford dealership and you're standing there in the courtyard and you're looking at a Focus and you go, yeah, she's a grand looking car. And the dealer comes over and he goes, you like that? Yeah, yeah, I do, yeah, she's looking lovely, she's lovely now. Jenny, absolutely. And he looks at it and he says, oh, I didn't go near it. And he's the one selling it. You go, oh, Jenny, all right, oh, gotcha, yeah. What would you get? To be honest now, I'd go Toyota all the way. Would you? Right, well, you'd know because you sell cars. Cheers, thanks a lot. And you're gone. Similarly, if people come to us, Christians, Catholics, priests, looking for the truth, and we say, well, sure, look, I mean, as long as you have the bit of spirituality somewhere, sure, look, you're all right, like. A bit of spirituality, yeah, but getting up on Sunday morning, that's hard. Maybe I'll find a bit of spirituality somewhere else. Sure, look, as long as you have some belief in God, sure, look, aren't you grand? And that's what we've been doing for 50 years. Absolutely bonkers. It's so counterproductive. It's crazy that so often people have come to us looking for the truth, and we've sent them off to meander in amongst the spiritual ether out there. It's desperately irresponsible. Those two things. In order to promote our church, renovate the church, renew the church, not as a building, but as a people of God, we must know what we have that no one else has, and secondly, we must believe it and witness to it. Okay, why do I say all of that? I was reading an article today from a good Dominican priest friend of mine. His name is Father Conor McDonough, and he was giving a talk in the Iona Institute, or organised by the Iona Institute, and he used a very interesting expression. The talk was about Gen Z, right, and how Gen Z, those born between 1990 and about 2010, are showing a greater openness to faith than the generation before them. Joseph, when were you born? 2011. Wow. Were people born in 2011? You're very young. Trace, you're younger, aren't you? How old are you? Obviously, when were you born? 2008. 2008. You were born 2018. 13. Bless us, I feel old. Okay. Jenny. I was born in the 70s. Okay, barely. Okay, 79. Okay. So Gen Z are showing a greater openness to faith than the generation before them. So our generation, we were a bit more kind of skeptical or indifferent, whereas they're a little more inquisitive, right? Inquisitive about the faith, because they have such a comfortable life. Technology, entertainment, warmth, indoor plumbing, order your food online, order your movies online, order your clothes online. You don't even have to leave the house, and all the stuff that you want just arrives magically. And somehow, mommy or daddy pays for it. This is amazing. I just get all the stuff I want. But yet they feel a bit, as they would say, meh, M-E-H, which means unfulfilled. You know, they're just a bit unfulfilled by it. And so they're actually looking for deeper meaning in things. So there's an openness there. But what Father Conor said, he mentioned this to a few other priest friends of his, and he said, no. He said, they said, no, this can't be. This can't be. One of them used the expression, he says, that's just Trumpism dipped in holy water. Best expression ever. Trumpism dipped in holy water. But he said that he used this expression, which I thought was just really, really telling. He said, some of the priests that I spoke to about this, he said they were committed to a mentality of decline. Committed to a mentality of decline. Things are going downhill and there is nothing we can do about it. Just accept it, right? The boat is sinking. There's even no point in getting a bucket and trying to just sit there and wait. The boat's eventually going to go and put us all out of our misery. Just wait. Just there's no point, right? And that's the ad, committed to a mentality of decline. And I thought it was very, very well put, but also dangerously true. Because if this happens to us as grandparents, parents, young people, and ye not so much, like this isn't where ye are. And that's another thing we should be careful of as grandparents and parents. The baggage that we may have, the children of today do not have. And the children of today do not have the baggage that those who were young in the 50s, 60s, or 70s have. So some people who are of a certain vintage might remember the church where there was the banging of the pulpit and the accusations and all this kind of fire and hell. That's probably hell, sin. Some people might remember that. The young people of today have never heard a homily on hell in their entire lives, even if they go to Mass. So this is not their memory, this is not their understanding of the church at all. Even as regards the scandals, we must learn from them, and we have learned from them. We have all our policies and procedures in place, and we're trying to move on with doing what the Lord has asked us to do. But that all for them, that's ancient history. They were born after all that happened. So they do not have the baggage that we have. So we have to be careful not to think, oh, sure, the scandals, oh, sure, the church, the dominant church, the past, and yada, 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 all these kind of things, as if the young people of today have those problems. They do not. They do not. Or if we get stuck in this just commitment to this mentality of decline. There's another word for that. Hopelessness. Hopelessness. There's no hope. So why try? Let's just wait now till the whole thing just wraps up, and sure, look at, we can always say it was the scandals, or it was our own, we got stuck in a rut, or we got stuck in the past, or we didn't adapt, or Trump, or, we'll blame someone. And we'll just wait now till the little boat that we're sitting on just quietly sinks, and we all die. Right? We can, if that doesn't exemplify hopelessness, what does? So you see the point. The point is we're the ambassadors for the faith. We witness to the joy of the faith out there. We must believe it. We must believe that we have a treasure worth giving. So firstly, it's worth giving. It's important to give the treasure of the church, not my version of it, what the church actually is. And secondly, Gen Z, and us all really, but particularly Gen Z, are actually looking for it. Are you seeing that? Anyone here with a marketing mind? Supply and demand, right? Is this coming together for you? We have a product, and there's a client base out there that are actually looking for that product. But if we go, sure, look at, once you have the bit of spirituality, you don't need this particular spirituality at all. You should just find something a bit easier for yourself. Go easy on yourself, you're great, you're doing your best, sure, look. We're all doing our little bit. Perfect way to kill the faith with a smile. It's lethal to speak about the church like that, because you rip its heart out. You rip the soul out of the church by saying that. We have treasures that the Lord has chosen to give us because they're the ones we need. You're searching. Come look. Have a look at them. Give this a shot. You've done things that you feel guilty for, things that you feel bad for. Right, we have a sacrament of healing called confession. Give it a shot. It's fantastic. And no, it's not the sacrament of the 1950s where you're going to get given out to. How many of you have ever been given out to in confession? It doesn't happen anymore. So come to confession. It's awesome, fantastic. Come to Mass. And why should I go? Well, the reason you go, I would recommend you go because something otherworldly happens at every Mass. We get to hear God's word, and then we get to receive him. Give it a shot. Maybe recommend a certain church where the liturgy is celebrated well. Because if a sloppy liturgy does serious damage. But bring them along. Gen Z they're hungry for meaning. Very, very briefly, in 40 seconds, imagine imagine a world without God. So imagine you take God out of the world. And this has happened in places, certain countries, where God is not welcome. Atheist regimes, right? So look at communist Russia, you look at communist China. What's your worldview? What's your role in society? Well, as long as you can work, you have meaning. You get to contribute to society. Great. And when you can't work, if you're an invalid or some sort of condition or illness or autism or Down syndrome, how do they fare in a communist regime or an atheist regime? Well, you can't contribute to society, so you're just a burden. Your life has no purpose. Okay, right. And when you hit like 70 or 80, or 75 maybe, and things start to slow down, you're not able to work anymore in an atheist regime. What's your value in society? Well, you used to do good things, but now again, you're just a burden. If you're sick, you're a burden. Do you see how dangerous this is? When we take God out of society, we think that will make us freer. But what it actually removes from society is any sense of deeper meaning or purpose to your life. In Christian society, we reverence life from conception until natural death and everything in between, regardless of a person's ability, inability, age, race, colour, creed. Everyone is loved by God. The Lord has died for every single person, and therefore every single person has value. Everyone. Equal value. Everyone. That's why it's Christians that built schools. It's Christians that built hospitals. It's Christians that built orphanages. It's Christians that built universities. These did not exist in society before Christianity, because we appreciate the value of every single person. Again, these are things that we can be confident about, because our faith cares about individuals, regardless of their state. Actually, even because of their state. If they need help, if they're for the ill, for those who have no access to education, the church stepped in, because everybody has a value that the Lord put a price tag on, his own cross. So we have treasures that the world is looking for. We must never, ever get in the way of our young people who are looking for the Lord by saying, sure, look, go somewhere else, or we've nothing to offer you. We must not give into this commitment to a mentality of decline. We must not give into that. People are hungry for the Lord, like the apostles, like St. Otteran, like so many saints throughout the centuries. Let us bring people, as beggars that we are, to the source, the bread of life himself.